Before you dive in, imagine this: a struggling single dad with nothing but kindness in his heart, a powerful billionaire mother who has given her daughter everything except the one thing money could never buy, and a miracle that changes all three of their lives forever. This is a story that will touch your heart. If you enjoy emotional, life-changing stories, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because more incredible true kindness tales are on the way. No one in the small seaside town truly knew the life of Ethan Ward, the quiet single father who worked double shifts repairing fishing boats to support his little boy, Noah. His hands were always covered in grease, his clothes smelled of seawater and engine oil, but his heart, according to everyone who had ever met him, was something special. Ethan believed kindness was the only thing he could afford to offer the world, and he offered it freely. Meanwhile, 50 miles away in the bustling city of Raiden Heights, CEO Mira Layden lived in a gleaming glass tower, richer than most people could imagine but carrying a silent ache that not even her billions could soothe. Her daughter, 8-year-old Violet, had been unable to walk since infancy due to a rare neuromuscular condition. Mira had thrown her fortune into therapies, specialists, and international hospitals, yet nothing changed. Violet, bright-eyed and artistic, had accepted her wheelchair with grace, but Mira had not. She blamed herself, as mothers often do, and no doctor had ever eased the weight on her heart. Fate began weaving their stories together on the morning Mira decided to take Violet to the seaside for the first time in years, hoping the fresh air would lift her daughter's spirit. Their car broke down on the quiet road leading to the harbor, and with no mechanic available for at least 2 hours, Mira's stress built until her polished confidence cracked. Violet, however, was mesmerized by the sight of boats bobbing on the waves and asked if she could go closer. Mira reluctantly pushed her wheelchair down the pier, where a small workshop sat open with tools scattered in organized chaos. That's where Ethan appeared, wiping grease from his hands, smiling the warm, gentle smile he always offered strangers. He offered to look at Mira's car for free while Violet wandered curiously around the workshop, asking questions about engines and boats. Ethan knelt beside her, speaking softly, treating her not as a fragile child but as a curious one. Violet's laughter, something Mira rarely heard, filled the workshop like sunlight through clouds. When Violet asked why Ethan fixed things for people who couldn't always pay, he said something that struck Mira deeply: everyone's broken in some way. Fixing what I can helps me stay whole. For the first time in years, Mira felt a strange sense of hope. As Ethan worked on the car, Violet noticed an odd-looking machine in the corner, a simple exoskeleton frame Ethan had been building from scrap parts. "Is that a robot for walking?" she asked in amazement. Ethan hesitated, then admitted it was a long shot, a passion project inspired by a family friend who had lost mobility years ago. Mira watched Violet's eyes brighten for the first time in months. Something inside her shifted. Maybe, just maybe, the miracle she had chased around the world existed here, in this humble workshop by the sea. When Ethan realized how fascinated Violet was with his handmade exoskeleton, he invited her to try the arm controls just for fun. Her small fingers trembled with excitement as she moved the levers, making the metal frame take a few clumsy steps. For a moment, her joy transformed the workshop into a place of magic. Mira watched silently, her throat tightening, wondering why this simple moment felt more hopeful than any hospital she had visited. Ethan explained that he had been slowly improving the design, dreaming that one day it might help children walk again. But he lacked funding, time, and formal engineering training. Mira, for the first time in her life, felt powerless despite her wealth. She saw in Ethan a rare purity, someone who pursued kindness without expecting anything in return. Before they left that day, Violet asked Ethan if she could come back to help build the miracle robot. Ethan, laughing gently, agreed. Over the next weeks, Mira made the long drive to the seaside town again and again. Each visit awakened something in all of them: Violet's excitement, Ethan's sense of purpose, and Mira's dormant hope. Ethan worked tirelessly on the exoskeleton, refining its joints and balance system, using every spare hour he had. Noah and Violet bonded like siblings, and Mira, who had always kept walls around her heart, found herself lingering in conversations with Ethan, watching the tenderness he showed her daughter. As the prototype neared completion, Ethan designed a lightweight harness custom fit for Violet. When she saw it, her eyes filled with tears she had never cried before, tears of belief. The day came for the first test. The workshop was quiet except for the waves crashing outside. Ethan fitted the exoskeleton around Violet, tightening straps with steady hands while Mira stood trembling, terrified to hope. Violet gripped Ethan's arms and whispered, "Do you think I can really do it?" Ethan's voice was soft but firm. "You don't have to walk alone. I'm right here." He guided her hands onto the control handles. Her legs, supported by the frame, moved with trembling uncertainty. One step. Mira gasped, covering her mouth. Violet took another. Then another. "Mom, I'm standing. I'm really standing," she cried. Myra's legs went weak as she collapsed onto the nearest bench, sobbing so hard her breath broke. Violet walked. Shaky, mechanical, but walking. Ethan turned away, blinking rapidly, pretending to fix a strap just to hide the emotion welling in his eyes. The miracle Mira had sought around the world had been built from scrap metal in a tiny workshop by a man who simply refused to stop caring. That day changed everything. Mira offered Ethan funding, resources, a full lab, anything he needed. But Ethan refused profit. "I never built this to get rich," he said. "I built it because one child deserves a chance." Mira realized kindness, not money, had made the miracle happen. And she wasn't sure she had ever admired someone more. The next months unfolded like the rewriting of destiny itself. With Ethan's exoskeleton, Violet's muscles slowly awakened after years of stillness. At first, she could only take a few assisted steps, but with practice, laughter, and stubborn determination, she progressed beyond every prediction the specialists had ever given. Mira called her board of directors and announced a new foundation dedicated to supporting mobility technology for children worldwide, funded entirely by her corporation but led by one humble mechanic whose heart had proven more valuable than all her wealth combined. Ethan resisted at first, unsure he belonged in boardrooms or labs. But Mira insisted, "You built hope with your hands. Now let's help you build it for the world." Under their partnership, the device evolved from a scrap metal prototype into a refined, life-changing technology. Children from across the country arrived to try the new exoskeletons, and Ethan treated every one of them with the same gentle patience he had shown Violet. Noah ran around cheering for the kids, and Violet, now walking with minimal support, became the foundation's brightest symbol of resilience. As months passed, Mira found herself drawn to Ethan in ways she tried to ignore. She admired his kindness, his humility, his courage to care even when life had given him little. He admired her strength, her fierce love for her daughter, and her willingness to change, to soften, to build a world where kindness mattered more than power. One evening, after a long day of helping children try the new exoskeletons, Ethan walked Mira and Violet to their car. The sun was setting over the ocean, painting gold across the waves. Violet ran ahead with Noah, racing in clumsy, joyful steps only possible because of Ethan. Mira turned to him, her voice trembling. "I spent years thinking money could buy miracles," she whispered. "But you gave my daughter something priceless." Ethan shook his head. "She did the hard part. I just believed in her." Mira stepped closer, tears shimmering. "Belief is something no one ever gave me before you." It was not a confession of love, not yet, but it was the first crack in a wall she had built for years. And for Ethan, who had spent so long repairing everything except himself, her words were the beginning of healing. Violet and Noah called them over to watch the sunset together. As they stood side by side, Mira realized she had spent her entire life looking for miracles, never expecting that the greatest one would come from a man with calloused hands and a heart made entirely of kindness. And Ethan realized that sometimes the world rewards those who give freely, not with wealth, but with family, purpose, and love. Their journey had begun with a broken car and a simple act of kindness. But it ended with a miracle that changed countless lives. A miracle that proved true kindness can rewrite fate itself. If this story touched your heart, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more powerful true kindness tales that remind us humanity still shines brightest in ordinary people.